Well, thank you very much indeed, Secretary General, for that splendid address, which I'm sure we've all greatly benefited from. The Secretary General has very kindly said that he will take some questions now, limited amount of time. Could I ask, we've got roving microphones, could I ask that those who ask questions should say their name and any organization which they may represent, and then please to keep the question short and make it a question, because otherwise you're going to eat into time available for others.
Tom Porteous from Human Rights Watch. I just wanted to ask you how you thought your trip to Burma went, and whether you feel you achieved anything substantial, or whether you felt that the generals were giving you the runaround as they're so good at doing. Thank you.
When Cyclone Nargis hit, everybody thought that first a few days were critically important to save human lives. I think we lost that critically important first few days because of inflexible positions of Myanmar government. And I was able to meet with the senior General Tan Shwe and other military leaders of Myanmar. And I was relieved at that time that I was able to convince them, after long 2.5 hour discussions and many other related discussions, that they would allow all international aid workers and even NGOs and even previously unregistered NGOs. I think at this time, even though there have been a lot of concerns raised, I think things are moving toward the right direction, but still very slow. Even yesterday, they have issued detailed guidelines, very bureaucratic. But they have also allowed all these helicopters, and they have allowed to establish a logistical hubs within Myanmar. They have allowed all UN and international aid workers to move around the most affected areas, Irrawaddy Delta regions. Still, we believe that much more things to be done to help those affected people. When I traveled and flew over all these most affected Irrawaddy Delta region, I was so struck, so sad to see how devastated their country was. My mission at that time was focused on purely humanitarians. And I was not able much to discuss on political issues, including the release of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. But we agreed that my good offices mandated by the General Assembly will continue and even broadened and deepened. And if necessary, at an appropriate timing, with my direct involvement at my level. And I'm going to continue to focus with a sense of priority to help and facilitate democratization process of Myanmar. And the support from the United Kingdom and friends of supporter groups of the Secretary General's good offices has been very useful. And I count on such continuing support from the international community. Thank you.
Martha Jean Baker from the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, which is also a member of a group in the UK called GAPS, Gender Action for Peace and Security, which works on Security Council Resolution 1325. We're starting to look at security more in terms of going back to things that are important to individuals, like education, like housing, like food, and not putting more women in the police and military, and I wondered if you would comment on that.
This is again a very important area of what the member states and Secretary General and whole international community should cooperate and address this issue. While all these conflicts are going on unresolved, it has mostly been the women and all young girls and children whose human rights have been severely abused, not properly protected. In that regard, the Security Council Resolution 1325 has provided a very good political guidelines to which whole international community must adhere to. And I have given strict instructions to all peacekeepers around the world to adhere to these principles. And about a couple of months ago, I launched a global campaign against the violence against the women, which has been much appreciated worldwide. The Security Council will have a special meeting on this issue on June 19th at the ministerial level in New York, where I will also participate. I'm sure that with all this increasing awareness and strong commitment from international community, we will be able to address this issue properly. But continuous engagement and priority, political priority, is required to address this issue. Thank you.
Dan Plesh from the School of Oriental and African Studies. With respect to your welcome remarks on disarmament and looking ahead to the 2010 meeting of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, do you think that that meeting or a meeting in association with it should be usefully held at the level of heads of state and government?
Again, it is frustrating that we have not made much progress in NPT process. As you may remember, when I was elected as Secretary General, I put this disarmament as one of the priorities. And I made the two institutional reform measures. One was on peacekeeping, by dividing into this peacekeeping operation into more professional and specialized way into two departments. I really wanted to focus to ensure the most effective operation of peacekeeping. The other part was the disarmament. Again, as a part of institutional reform, I changed this Office of the Department of Disarmament into a high representative having directly under my authority and supervision. Of course, that does not give any answer. That does not give all the answer. The member state should have been more proactive in making progress in this disarmament. Now we are looking ahead of review conference. I myself participated in disarmament commission meeting about three months ago as a Secretary General, and I really urged the members of the United Nations to expedite their process in disarmament. And I will continue to engage myself in to further expedite and raise a political awareness in this issue.
Hello, Mr. Secretary General. My name is Marco Morais. I'm from the UN Youth and Student Association of the UK. Well, first of all, thank you very much for this talk, and needless to say, happy birthday. My question is in relation to the independence of the UN and the Office of the Secretary General. Bearing in mind Article 99 of the Charter and Hammarskjöld's principles of neutrality and independence, I would like to ask you, sir, in which areas do you feel that you can act most independently from member states, really making the UN more than the sum of its parts? Thank you.
This is quite a broad question. I want to have a full independence, even more independence from all the aspects of my work. Secretary General, according to Charter, is a chief administrative officer, and I have a broad mandate and responsibility when it comes to peace and security and humanitarian responsibility.